If you're struggling to achieve a clean and loud sounding mix and master, this video is for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is 7beats and today I'm going to show you how to mix and master your track in FL Studio. So when it comes to mixing, I'm going to show you how to create mixing buses. I'm going to show you some amazing techniques on how to create a loud sounding mix. So we're going to dive deep into loudness. And in the end of the video, I'm going to show you how to master a project. So what plugins do you need? And in this video, I'm going to use Kraftur from Sound Theory, which is an amazing plugin. So I want to be clear, this video is sponsored, but I can basically show you guys what I want and how I apply this plugin in my projects. So I'm a big fan of Sound Theory. They create some amazing products and I use them in almost all of my projects. So with that being said, let's dive right in. So okay guys, the project which I'm going to use for this video is a remix from Teddy Swim's Bad Dreams. The tutorial will be out soon, but at first I'm releasing this video. So I'm going to disable the vocal because of copyright reasons. Let me show you the main part of the track. Very wide and ambient track. Does not contain that much elements, so making it easier to mix it. So that's it. So the track already sounds pretty good. So all the elements are already leveled. So in this video, I'm not able to show you how to level all the elements because I think this is the creative process when you're creating the track. So how you want it to sound. So if you want the kick to be a little bit louder or punchier, I'm not going to say to you how to do it. You have to mix a track the way you want it. And I'm going to show you some essential mixing tricks on how to make it sound clean. I'm going to close the arrangement, open up the mixer. So this is the mixer. So as you can see, I've separated the elements. So I've basically grouped them. So I've assigned a color to a group of tracks. You can simply do this by selecting them, right mouse button, rename, select the color picker right here and pick a color to your preference and press accept. So it's that easy. And I've also created mixer buses. So I'm going to show you how to create a quick bus right here. So you basically select the kick and bass and I'm going to create a kick and bass bus. So on Mac, I'm pressing, let me see, Control Option. I'm pressing the right mouse button right here. And then I'm selecting route to this track only. So the two inserts are routed to this track only. So in this case is insert 1 and I've renamed it to kick and bass. So this makes it very clear and it gives you an overview of the elements which you've added. And it's just a very structured way on how to mix a track. So this is for the kick and the bass. I've applied the exact same trick for the drums. So these are all the elements which are linked to a drums bus. And these are all the elements which are linked to a melodies bus. And then this is the vocal chain or the vocal. And this is the vocal with an effects channel. So when creating the track, I've already added some simple tricks, which I'm also going to show you in the tutorial when I was creating this track. So basically some simple leveling. So adjusting the volume, so adding some elements to the left and to the right at random, so around 10-15%. And for the clap, for example, I've added this EQ because I wanted to reduce some of the frequency. So it's just how it sounds. Again, this is not mixing. And for example, for the melodies on the piano, you just want to make sure you remove some unnecessary frequencies. So I'm using a low cut right here, boosting the frequencies around 2000 Hertz. Just again, the way I want it to sound. And when you simply build layer by layer, I'm not adding too many effects, for example. Keeping it simple is basically key. So less is more. When adding less elements, when adding less effects, when adding less reverb, in the end, it will make it so much easier to mix and master your track. So my golden rule, less is more. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show you how to start off mixing your track. So in this case, I'm selecting the loudest part of the track where almost all of the elements are playing. So this is basically the foundation and my starting point for mixing a track. So this section of the track. So right now the first thing which we're going to do or apply is adding sidechaining. So in this case, I'm disabling the final output buses right here. So right now, just the kick and bass are playing. And as you can hear, I can already notice the bass and kick are colliding. So they both contain a lot of low frequencies. So we want to make sure we add some sidechaining. So right now at first we're selecting the kick, right mouse button right here, sidechain to this track. So we'll sidechain the kick to the bass, very simple. We open up the bass, so I've already added the EQ right here. So I remove some of the ticking sounds from the beginning of the bass. So for example, this is what I adjusted to the sound. You can hear a sound which contains a lot of high frequencies. I'm removing that. Making it more dark. And again, cleaner and easier to mix. So right now, I'm going to sidechain it and I'm going to use a kickstart 2. So within kickstart, we're going to open up processing and we're selecting kick 4. We go to the plugin again, open up this window right here. We're selecting audio and we're enabling the band. So we just want to duck below a certain frequency. So let's enable this one. So let's adjust the slope right here. So without just too much, and again too much. So basically the sweet spot is you won't even notice it's sidechained. So let's say around 300 Hertz. I think it sounds great. We just want to reduce the amount of low frequencies which are colliding with the kick. Is at 100%, makes it very, very easy. So right now let's visualize the result and then maybe tweak it again. So we now open up the kick and bass. And right now I want to open up a shaper box and we open up an oscilloscope. So we're right now able to view the signal. So very helpful way when it comes to mixing a track. So visualizing makes it so much easier. So this is the signal without sidechaining it. As you can see, the kick looks very messy. And let's enable the sidechain. So as you can see, there are almost no peaks left. So the kick sounds very clean. And for example, let's disable the bass. So this is the kick signal. So as you can see, the waveform of the kick is changing a little bit. So maybe we need to add a little bit more sidechaining. Okay, so that's it. The foundation for a track is basically the amount of low frequencies and a balance between the kick and the bass. So sidechaining it is essential. So make sure to add a simple plugin like this. You could also, for example, automate it manually, but I think this is the most simple and easiest way how to sidechain the bass from the kick. Okay, so next up, we want to use Kraftur to spice it up. Open it up right here. And this plugin is amazing. So first, let me quickly explain how to use it. So right here on the left corner, we could basically set it to dry signal, single band, and multi-band. So multi-band, we could saturate 3 bands. So right now it's set to low, mid, and high. And the crossover point is 350 Hertz and 3500 Hertz. So if you, for example, want to saturate a synth, it's very easy to just saturate the low, mid, or high frequencies. So amazing feature of this plugin. So right here we have some knobs, which is the drive. So basically increasing the amount of saturation. Then we could enable the offset. So as you can see, the curve is changing right here. And those two knobs basically decide when and how much saturation is added again at a certain volume of the signal. So I'm trying to explain it in a simple way. And right here, we could also adjust the amount of low for the low band, mid band, and the high band. We could also link them together, so we could adjust them all at once. So that's also an amazing feature. So now I'm going to show you how to apply it. So the first thing which we have to enable is match. So it won't increase or decrease the volume of the signal. So increase the drive. So turn it up all the way. We want to give it some more power. And especially the mid shift, so the mid frequencies. As you can hear, we're distorting the sound just a little bit. Want to make it sound a little bit clearer on the mid frequencies. So that's it. So let me show you what we've adjusted to the signal. So right now let's bypass the signal. Enable. As you can see, we're reducing the peaks. So this is also a very helpful way how to create more headroom. So saturating the signal is a very easy and helpful way how to do this without transforming the signal or destroying the dynamics of the track. So I really like to apply this one. So this makes it just sound so much more powerful. Okay, so right now we're going to enable the drums. So at first we want to make sure we're removing some frequencies which are colliding with the kick and bass. So we don't need those frequencies right here, and you won't notice it when I'm using a low cut. So now let's open up Kraftur again, and we're going to add some saturation to the drums. So we're now set it to single because I want to saturate the signal as a whole. So as you can see right now, when I add some drive, it will increase the loudness. So right now select match again. And let's open up another shaper box, open up the oscilloscope. So again, take a look at the waveform. So we're again decreasing the peaks. Too much distortion. So that's it. So a very easy way how to again create more headroom. For the melodies, I'm going to apply the exact same trick. Open up a Pro Q3. Again, reducing the unnecessary frequencies. So I'm setting it around to 90, 100 Hertz. I'm adding Kraftur again. And again, I want to add some drive to the signal as a whole. At first select match and then increase the drive again. And around 12 dB. Okay, so that's it. I think it already sounds clean. We're creating more headroom, exactly what we're looking for. So for example, on this plug right here, I'm widening up the signal. So at first I'm adding Galfas right here, which is an EQ, which makes the sound very natural, also from sound theory. And then I'm widening up the signal. And the best plugin for widening up the signal is using this Ozone 9 imager, or maybe Ozone 10 or 11. And I'm using a simple preset, which is called the enhance space right here. So let's enable it right here again. And then I'm going to stereoize it. And right now we're widening up the signal and we're not creating any phasing, so mono stereo issues. So perfect plugin. So as you can hear, it sounds very wide. Right now it's more in the middle. Widening it up, amazing. So very simple way on how to create a clean sounding signal. And on the melodies, after adding Kraftur, I'm also adding Golfos again, normalizing all the signals. So in this case, I'm adding 100% bias. Again, reducing some mids right here. Creating a clean sounding, nice sounding signal. That's what I'm looking for. Again, so the next step is the limiting. But in this case, I'm not going to limit the signal on the master. I'm going to at first limit the signal on the buses. So kick and bass. So I'm opening up Shaper Box again right here. And I'm opening up the Pro L2. So we've saturated the signal using Kraftur. So we've created a very powerful and clean, warm sounding signal. And now we're going to limit it. So this is a really simple and amazing trick. So I've created a preset, so limiting. I'm going to include this preset in the description if you want to download it for free, but you can also steal it right now. So right here, set it to 1 to 1 again. So we're matching the in and output signal. Set this one to 0, 10, 0, and those two channel linkings to 0 right here. The style is aggressive, and we're basically going to limit the signal, and we're making sure it's not yet clipping. So let's increase the gain. So there we go. As you can hear, it is just too much. So let's take a listen right here. So too much, too much. Reduce it until it sounds good. As you can see, I'm reducing the signal, so I think this is about fine. Okay, that's it. We're going to apply the exact same trick for the drums. So open up the drums, open up Shaper Box again, Pro L2, limiting preset, increasing the signal. So, and you won't even notice it, but we're creating a lot of headroom. And in the end, it's very easy to just add a gain and increase the signal. So very easy way, and you really won't notice it. It's amazing. So open up the melodies. We're doing the exact same thing again. So open up a oscilloscope again, and we're opening up the Pro L2. Limiting, increasing the signal. So when increasing the gain, do not want to increase it that much. That's it. So right here, it could sound weird when you increase the gain too much. It will sound overcompressed, over limited. So you just want to basically reduce the peaks. So that's it. Very simple. So we didn't add any crazy compression. And for a vocal, I'm applying the exact same trick, making sure it sounds good, adding some saturation, and then I'm using the Pro L2 to remove the peaks and create a clean and compact signal. So right now you might be thinking maybe he applied too much effects or he's destroying the track or whatever. Let me disable and enable all the effects which I've applied. Okay, so let's have a listen and make sure to watch the signal very closely. So around -6 dB. So peaks above -6 dB. So right now I've turned on all the effects. Very clean looking signal, as you can see. So that's exactly what I want to achieve. So creating more headroom, making sure I'm able to limit the signal in the end, maximizing the signal, and you won't even notice it when listening to the track. Okay, so right now I think we've achieved a clean sounding mix by applying these effects to all the buses. So now I'm going to show you how to master a track. So in almost all of the cases, adding a Pro Q3. And right now, when I'm not able to increase the gain that much, I'm just using a low shelf to reduce some of the low frequencies. So in most of the cases, I'm starting off with a low shelf like this, and I'm setting it to around 300 Hertz right here, and then reducing 1 dB, so -1. So that's it. So this will decrease the amount of low frequencies a little bit. You won't notice it, and you will be able in the end to increase the gain a lot. So let's compare the signal when turning it off and on. So without. Let's enable it. You won't even notice it after you've maximized the signal. It makes no difference, but you will be able to increase the gain just a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm adding a compressor. So I want to catch the peaks, and I'm using the glue. Amazing compressor, mastering. And this one is just catching the peaks as it says. So in the end, this will prevent when limiting the track. In the end, the limiter has to cut off the signal very aggressively. So we're just catching the peaks, making sure we're reducing the peaks. So after we've reduced the peaks, I'm going to use Kraftur again. I'm going to saturate the signal as a whole. So I'm selecting multi again. And right now, I'm going to set the low to 150 Hertz and this one to around 2000 Hertz. So now let's match the signal again so we're not increasing the volume. Let's open up the shaper box again. And the goal is just to reduce some of the peaks again. And especially the low frequencies, which contain the largest amplitude, we're increasing this one. So adding a little bit more saturation on the lows right here. So just too much. So that's it. So right now, again, we're decreasing the peaks. So right now we want to use another sound theory plugin, which is called the Gullfoss Master, which again is a EQ, which just makes it sound more natural. So reduces some of the annoying peaks. So set the bias to around 30 and this one to around 15%. So something like this. And I'm going to use the filter right here. So I'm just tweaking the frequencies above 1000 Hertz. Okay, so right now if you cue the signal, catch the peaks, then we're adding some saturation using Kraftur again, using the Gullfoss EQ Master plugin. And right now it's time to maximize the signal. So I'm going to use a Pro L2 again. And right now we're picking a preset. So open up the preset. We're picking a loud and we're selecting EDM punchy right here. So this is just a preset which works for me and it just does the job. Okay, so right now I'm gonna increase the gain, but when you're guys watching this video, maybe it won't increase that much because I have to level the audio when I'm editing the video. So it will be very quiet and then will be loud again. So basically we want to increase the gain until the kick is hitting 0. So this is the shaper box, so let's increase the gain. So we could increase it by 10 dB in this case. Okay guys, so as you can see right now, I'm able to increase the signal by 10 dB without clipping it. Or even more. So right now let's enable all the other elements. So let's decrease the volume of the headphones a little bit. And that's it. So right now I think it's really, really loud. And right now there are multiple ways how to measure the outgoing signal. I like to use ozone 10, which I think is really, really accurate. So just a clean chain. And then right here, LUFS, right? We select it right here. And then we're measuring the signal again. So now we have to increase the signal a little bit more. As you can see right now, we're hitting around -8.76 LUFS. So easy way how to increase the gain without distorting the signal too much is, for example, removing some more low frequencies, because the low frequencies contain the biggest amplitude. So let's say -1.5 dB. Let's open the Pro O2 again. That's it. So the output signal is -8. Exactly the volume what we're looking for. So right now we've achieved -8 LUFS. So when I'm enabling the vocals, maybe it will add a little bit more loudness because the vocal contains a lot of high frequencies. But I think this is fine. So perfect when you're, for example, uploading it to SoundCloud or YouTube. This is the volume which you want to aim for. And as I showed you, mixing and mastering the track is not that difficult. When your mix is already clean, when you've applied certain techniques, adding saturation, adding a little bit of compression to reduce the peaks, you can create a very clean and loud sounding output signal on your mastering chain. And the track won't sound distorted, the dynamics are still there, and it's not that time consuming. So that's also something which you have to keep in mind. And that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them in a comment. And I highly recommend checking out Kraftur. So I will put a link down in the description. You can just check it out yourself, download the free trial, and just try the software and see if you like it. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next video.